DC Universe Rebirth, the biggest comics event of the 21st century. The greatest heroes and villains. The greatest graphic novels. The next epic starts here. Volume 1 collections of the best-selling comic books.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Gather on the DC stage. We have a special presentation for you guys. Want to welcome you guys to the DC University Art Academy. We have Cully Hamner here with us. Big round of applause for Cully. Cully and I will have a little discussion, and while he draws. Cully is best known for Blue Beetle. So Cully, what do you think? You might want to draw a little Blue Beetle for us? Great, great.
Blue Beetle. Beetle is blue. All right.
Tell me about your history with this character. How did you get started with Blue Beetle?
Well, I got a call one day from Dan Dio asking me if I would be interested in this character, and they had some ideas for this character to look a little bit more like a kind of like a mech, you know, like an anime kind of a character, and I just immediately thought, I'm not sure that I would be able to draw that issue after issue after issue. So I decided to try to make the character look a little more human, but still retain kind of a Power Ranger-y kind of a look. So I did this design, and they went for it, and that's kind of how the character looks now. So
that's great. How did you get your start in the industry?
I went to a lot of conventions, and I met a lot of other artists, and artists introduced me to their editors, and just eventually somebody kind of decided to give me a shot. I mean, this was at a time when a lot of people were getting hired in comics, so the feat was not necessarily getting hired in comics, the feat was staying in comics. And somehow I managed to do this for 25 years or so, you know? But it's like the best job in the world. I don't know if I would really want to do anything else.
25 years, wow.
25 years.
So you started when you were 6?
I started when I was 60.
Did you go to school for this, or did you...
I didn't. I apprenticed at an art studio for a little while, for a couple of years, with an artist by the name of Don Howard, who was a Disney designer back in the early 70s, who happened to live in my hometown. And I ended up working for him for a while. We did all sorts of stuff. We did advertising art. We did work for the government. We did work for Westinghouse. We did caricatures. We did all sorts of things. It was a pretty well-rounded way to learn the craft. Didn't really do much in the way of comics, but I think that's kind of okay that we didn't do that. Because I got to learn a lot of different kinds of art, and a lot of different production techniques, and it's just a really good environment to be around.
What was your first comic work ever?
My first comic work ever never saw print. It was for Dark Horse Comics, and it was a story in Dark Horse Presents that I don't know why I never saw print. I just never did. They kind of treated it like it was an inventory story. The very next job that I did was for DC, and that was my first published work.
What advice would you give some kids out there who are learning the craft or who are just getting started? Any professional advice?
My advice would be, obviously you want to learn to draw, and then you got to realize that drawing is maybe about 20% of it. It's more about storytelling, and it's more about being able to get inside the head of a character and knowing about story itself, and it's not really just a situation where knowing how to draw is enough. There's a lot of things you got to be able to do. And, I would just say try to be as well-rounded as you can, try to challenge yourself, seek out other artists who can teach you things is a very important thing. I was very lucky to hang out with a large group of artists when I was breaking in, and I learned something from pretty much all of them at one point or another.
Now, this is your second go-around with Jaime Reyes, right?
Yeah, well, design? I designed the character back in 2006. I was doing a book with John Rogers and Keith Giffen. And I did that for, I guess, all of 2006. And that was a lot of fun. And, I'm kind of surprised that, this version of the character is kind of become the version. It's kind of stuck around for a while.
Move up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Let me do this here. It's, I'm kind of proud of, like, the legs that this character's had. It's just, kind of a feather in my cap,
And what are the differences between that first design compared to this design of Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle?
Well, I mean, the current design's a little pointier, if that makes any sense. There's a little bit more of a kind of a directness to it, I think. Mine, I think, is maybe a little on the friendlier side, if that makes any sense. A little smilier. I try to do a happy medium on the covers that I do, because I want to do, I still want him to be familiar to me, so I tend to draw him smiling and, kind of being a positive guy. But I also want to respect what Scott Collins is doing, because he's doing a great version, of the character himself. So, I kind of want to continue to do the character service that way, but, the one that I designed is always kind of near and dear to my heart, so that's the one I always kind of default to.
Talk to me about the process, the technical part of it. You started out with pencils, and now what pencils?
Yeah,
did you start
you
off
want to
with?
start out with like a series of kind of basic shapes. You really want to. You don't want to do anything too permanent until you kind of get like the basic outline of the character. And I try to design this character with a real silhouette in mind. So even if you're looking at the character in the dark or backlit, you're going to see these pincers here, and you're going to immediately know who that is. A lot of times when I'm drawing a character, even like this, that doesn't have, say, for example, ears, I might rough in the ears just so I kind of know where they would be, so I can sort of keep everything straight on the head. That's not something that necessarily everybody does. It's just something that I do, But yeah, I mean, you kind of you want to do something that resembles the human figure without necessarily having to hew to every detail all the time. You want it to feel natural.
Now the new Blue Beetle coming out soon will also feature the original Blue Beetle, correct?
That's what I'm given to understand. I mean, I'm really only doing the covers, so I'm not really up on who all's going to be in the book all the time. But I am given to understand that I guess the Ted Cord version is going to be in it, which is cool with me. I always like that version of the character too.
What's your favorite part of the tech that's on your version of?
Oh, I love this. I call it the bug pack. Like this sort of thing he wears on his back, where I kind of designed it like a bug pack, but I wanted it to have like legs and pincers, so it looks like it's a big bug kind of hanging onto his back. But it's, yeah, I've always loved drawing this thing. A lot of fun.
Now you've also designed a number of other characters for DC Rebirth, correct?
I did not do any characters for Rebirth. I designed stuff for the New 52.
New 52.
I did a lot of characters. Jim Lee and I worked fairly closely on a lot of those. Rebirth, I've not really designed any characters for that because I have a project that I'm doing that I can't talk about yet. That is kind of taking up all my attention right now.
What was the character you, besides Blue Beetle, that you liked a lot from New 52 that you helped design?
I thought Green Arrow was cool. I think I said that back then. I thought Jim's design for Green Arrow was pretty excellent. I enjoyed all of it. I mean, I enjoyed working on all the characters. I thought it was a really cool project to be a part of. I like doing design stuff.
What's the favorite thing you've done so far at DC?
I'd say probably three things. Blue Beetle's one of them. Probably the work I've done on The Question, I'm very proud of.
Great stuff.
I did a book for Wildstorm, back when there was a Wildstorm, called Red, which was made into a movie that I'm pretty proud of.
I saw Red and Red 2. Not bad.
You're the guy.
I'm the one.
Yeah. No, it was really cool to be a part of that. It's, and it was a lot of fun to kind of see that come to life the way it did. So,
is there any DC character that you haven't done that you would like to take a crack at?
Shazam. I would love to do Shazam. Love that character.
Do you know what the acronym stands for?
What's that?
What does the acronym stands for, Shazam?
Solomon, Hercules, Achilles, Zeus, Atlas, and Mercury.
Very good.
Yeah.
Bonus points if you can tell me what each of those characters' abilities Shazam derives.
Okay, so Solomon was wisdom, Hercules was strength, Atlas was stamina, right? Zeus was power. Is that what it was? Achilles was... Ooh.
That always got me with Atlas, too.
I'm not sure. Mercury was speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not that great. I'm not that big of a fan, I guess. I messed that one up. You can fire me now.
You know what? If you've gotten them all right, then we would give you Shazam to do. Sorry.
Oh, man. Fletcher. How can you do this to me? Yeah, I forgot how much fun this character was to draw until recently. And I've been able to draw him again. It's just an awesome character to do.
Yeah, move it up a little bit there. Man, so intricate, the designs. Like you said, you were inspired by anime?
A little bit. I mean, the main thing that I wanted to do is I wanted it to look technological but kind of organic at the same time, and I wanted it to have a silhouette. That was like my main thing, was I wanted you to be able to tell who this character was, even like, in the dark. But, it's a technological looking character, with sort of this alien technology going on, so you want it to have some detail on it, just to give it that look,
Now, you said you've been in the business now for 25 years?
Yes,
plus?
Please keep repeating that.
25 long years. If you could tell young Cully back then, 25 years ago, what's the best advice you could give that kid?
Rogaine, I think, would probably be the first thing I would say. Is, I would say you're going to be doing this in 25 years, so buckle up. This is going to be a cool job. I think I knew it, though. I mean, I don't think I've ever really wanted to do anything else. This is kind of what I've always wanted to do, so this is it for me.
Fulfilled? Fulfilled?
I think so. Yeah. Why? What are you trying to tell me?
Well, Shazam is still out there.
Fletcher with your jokes.
So when does Blue Beetle come out?
I'm sorry?
Blue Beetle. I think that comes out in September.
I think it's about to come out pretty soon, like within the next month or two, right? I'm pretty sure, anyway.
And what are you doing now?
I'm just playing. No, I've got to fill in all these kind of shiny, dark areas on his costume.
And you outline the blacks, you outline the shades?
Yeah, I mean, like, you kind of want to... it depends on who you are. Sometimes I've seen people, like sort of do all the large black areas before they do any sort of detail. I've seen people do that. I'm not one of those people. Like, I tend to kind of get, like, sort of an outline out and then just start throwing the blacks down. But, you can do it however you want. It's just a matter of keeping it straight in your head. As long as you can keep it straight for yourself, then it should work fine.
Now, who is the toughest character for you to draw? Or toughest environment?
Well, I tell you, I hate drawing trees. Not a fan of drawing trees.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's because trees are very randomized and they're very chaotic in terms of like branches and things like that. I like doing architecture. I'm a big fan of like doing cityscapes and that sort of thing.
The trees could give you some freedom to be able to just to actually not stick to a conformity or...
I guess that's one way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I like the structure of buildings, and I like to do that kind of stuff. Which is not to say that I can't draw trees. I can draw trees, as much as I need to draw trees. But I'm not a fan of drawing trees. So don't give me any trees to draw anymore.
So you love buildings.
Yeah. Don't give me a book to do called Trees. That would be a bad move for me.
How about The Accountant?
That would be excellent. That sounds like the perfect gig for me.
Anybody have any questions for Cully while we admire his brushwork?
Step right up. Let's hear it. No one.
And what brush is that?
Come on.
Do you like using Copics?
I do. I actually use them on pages a lot because the ink has gotten a lot better. It used to be if you used a pen like this, the ink was not light fast, so it would turn color after a while, and it wasn't permanent. And the ink that they put in these pens nowadays is actually India ink, which is what comic book artists traditionally use. So they tend to be a lot darker, and they stay dark, which is a good thing. And I still work fairly traditionally. I do a little bit of digital work on my pages, but still mostly it's ink on paper.
And what's the pen that you're using now for inking?
I'm sorry?
What's the pen that you're using now for inking?
Believe it or not, I use this. It's like a Faber-Castell Pitt pen. I use that. I use Copics. That's mainly what I use nowadays. I used to be a brush and quill person, but it's just gotten to the point where these pens are so good that it's actually faster to use these things. At least for me.
And do you prefer to ink your own work now, or you?
I do, yeah. Because the thing is, if I work for an inker or I work with an inker, I'm going to have to pencil more tightly than I do if I ink myself, so I might as well just go ahead and finish it up with a pen rather than finish it up with a pencil, if that makes any sense. I like the kind of feeling you get when you finish a page up and, in ink, and you get to see what the final thing looks like. I'm a big fan of the process.
Is there a character that you don't like to draw?
Not really. I haven't run across one yet. I'm sure I will eventually, but, I don't know. I can find something interesting about just about every character that I have to do. That's part of the gig, I think, is like if you're going to do this for a living, you got to be able to find something worthwhile in just about every job, because, let's face it, they're not all going to be dream jobs. Some of them are just going to be, your normal kind of jobs to make a living, and it's good to find something that makes it fun for yourself, At least I think so.
Well, you've done well for yourself. That looks absolutely fantastic.
Why, thank you, Fletcher. It's the only time I ever get compliments from Fletch.
That's not true.
You're right, it's not true. But I just have to make it seem so. I want to be a martyr.
No, you're just fishing. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me all the detail that goes into it, and it just comes out of straight from your head to your hand. There, that's fantastic.
I don't know any other way to do it. This is me. You're stuck with me.
You know what? While we wait for Cully to finish up, let me ask a trivia question out there about Cully. First person to answer, let me know, what was the art team that Cully, the studio that Cully was in the 90s? Anybody know?
Does anyone know this?
Bueller?
Bueller? No one knows this.
All right. How about a second question by Cully?
Okay.
What was Cully's first DC art, published artwork?
No one's going to know it.
Guess, anybody? Close. I like it.
Pretty close.
Green Lantern Mosaic #1.
That's right.
So, as your prize, we will give you this fantastic Blue Beetle drawing. Are you working on another one?
Yeah, why not?
I think our time's about to be wrapped up.
Oh, well. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. But hey, guys, can I get a big hand and a round of applause for Mr. Cully Hamner?
That went quick.
Fantastic gentleman and a great artist. Thank you guys very much.
But a gentleman first.
That's all the compliments I could get for him.
Thanks, man.